Okay, we will get started here this morning. Thank you again for joining our first users workshop for AI tool Otto. On our panel this morning is our president and CEO, Jim Hallenbeck, as well as our CTO, Tom Marlowe. Jim, I will pass it over to you.
Thanks, Mike. Sorry about that. I had to find my the mute button to turn off the mute. So, hey, thanks everybody for joining. I can see we have quite a few people on. Today, we wanted to talk about our AI tool and how the tool is used, and taking a look at some different skills that are now set up and working inside of your inside your instance of our AI tool. These skills were pushed out to all existing users of the tool, and you probably saw them come up. They show up. I have them set up inside of my instance with this dash in front of them, but yours will show up with, for example, 101 patent eligibility analysis. So this is a landing page when you log into the tool. If you log into the tool at blackhills.eve.legal up at the top. And when you log in, you'll return to either an existing session or to the skill library right here. If at any time you have a question, feel free to submit your questions via the chat function. We'll answer those as we go. And our goal here is to show you how the different skills work, some of the different skills work, answer your questions, and use this time to help you in using the tool productively for your purposes. We're going to plan on doing these every couple weeks. We're going to record them, so if you want to come back to them and use them as a resource, that is our plan. Those videos will be accessible via our YouTube page. We're under Black Hills AI, and we will include links in the follow-up emails and so on. These will also be available through our support page. So why don't we go ahead and get started? These skills are here. There's one for patent eligibility analysis, one to help you through, your 102 issues and your 103 issues, analyze search reports and written opinions, some application drafting, predict an art unit you go to, help you draft some claims, evaluate office actions, and generate some potential some recommendations on how you might proceed in responding, identify gaps in patent coverage, help you draft patent specifications, be able to run quality control on patent application drafts, and so on. And yeah, so why don't we go ahead and get started? I set some of these up so that we could just jump in without having to upload documents. But you'll see here when you click on, if you're to click on one of these skills, if you click on patent eligibility analysis, I'll show you this real quickly just so you see it. It'll pull up an empty set here. You have instructions on how to utilize the skill, and on the right is where your answers to your prompts will be provided. To upload documents, you click on upload, the window pops up, you can drag and drop documents in here. You can click upload and select multiple documents. You can also drag and drop multiple documents into the tool. Or if you have text that you want to paste in, maybe it's part of a document or from a web page or something, you can give it a name. You just paste your text in here, and it's a rich text format. So I'm going to go ahead and eliminate this session by clicking this X. I don't need it. I'm just going to go down to, it confirms that you want to delete it. I'm going to go down to the one I already preloaded with documents. So inside of here, I have a set of claims that I uploaded. That was from an application that was pending at one time. And here inside the skill, the instructions on how to use it. The mission is to assist a patent attorney in responding to a rejection of one or more claims of a patent application under 35 USC section 101. What you need to upload here, it tells you right here with a small typo, please upload a copy of the claims and name it claims. up here. If you don't name it claims, it's probably not going to be fatal. It'll figure out, what it is. And then there's a prompt here, analyze the claims in view of the outline below. But in this outline, you'll see I had an assist in generating this skill. I can't claim this is entirely my own work or that of somebody at Black Hills specifically, and I believe that person is actually on the call, so thank you to him. But what you'll see is the judicial exceptions laid out, the type of analysis that's laid out by the U.S. Patent Office, and the case history to perform a successful 101 analysis, as well as the examination guidelines, the examples that are provided by the USPTO. And so what this is going to do is it's going to evaluate the claims in view of the analysis that needs to be performed, the examination guidance given by the Patent Office, and in view of the examples, different Court of Appeals of the Federal Circuit decisions and different PTAB decisions. So I have a set of claims. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the prompt from here. Since I already have the claims uploaded, I have the instructions for this skill already uploaded or already selected. I'm going to copy that. I'm just going to paste it in over here on the prompt. You'll note too that you're able to resize left to right your workspace. And if you like, you can also collapse. You can collapse the listing of sessions, the tabs over on the left. So I'll do that just so we can see this better. So I paste it in the prompt. I'll hit the enter key. And this will go out and it'll think for a little while, see what's going on. It doesn't take a terribly long period of time, especially in view of the full scope of the analysis that it's performing. It starts giving us a response to what we asked it to do. And so while this is thinking and doing its thing, I will share with you that just earlier this week, our CTO, who's on the call, Tom Marlowe, he did a webinar with a set of several panelists, including Manjit Rege, who is a professor at St. Thomas University in Minnesota. And they spoke on the title of that webinar was a CXO webinar, the Great Technical Generative AI Debate. And Tom, maybe I'm going to put Tom on the spot here. And Tom, maybe you can tell us a little bit about that webinar, because there is a recording available of that if you're interested in watching that.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Yeah, it was the webinar. It was a panel discussion. I was joined by 4 other experts along with Dr. Rege, and it was a general discussion on use cases, policy considerations, and those types of topics, specifically around generative AI, which is the type of AI technology that we're looking at here with this tool, and is become very popular in the news over the last 12, 13 months with the proliferation of tools like ChatGPT, Anthropic's Claude, Google's Gemini that was recently released, which also looks pretty interesting as well. I think we're just going to see more and more of these types of things. And we are really excited to have integrated this type of technology into our workflows for our customers, folks on this call as well, to be able to leverage it to become more efficient in the way that you are operating your practice.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so in our we'll follow up with an email after this webinar to the attendees, and that'll include a link to that webinar if you're interested in watching that, as well as another webinar that we did a week prior about it was titled "Attorney versus Generative AI Showdown." Had a really interesting outcome there, comparing the output of the tool to that of a human attorney, and comparing not only the output but also the time that it took to perform certain tasks. So now our results are back from this 101 analysis skill. And you'll see that it performed a very thorough analysis. It looks at each of the claims. It reaches a conclusion that prong one of the analysis is satisfied, and the analysis proceeds to prong two, provides you a very reasoned response to that. And one thing I want to emphasize here is that, we look at this and there's a concern that attorneys will be replaced by AI, or whatever professional is going to be replaced by AI. And I just want to emphasize the point that I made in the webinar last week, or 2 weeks ago, I think it is now, is that you're not going to be replaced by AI. But what's going to happen is the people using AI are going to replace those who are not, because it increases your ability to reach very well-reasoned outcomes much more quickly. And it's arguable that a person using an AI tool to help them identify different facets to perform to address the problems they're faced with and to reach more thorough outcomes, it's going to be a better result than just a person doing it on their own. And not only are you going to end up with that better outcome, that better result set, you're going to do it in a slower time, or a much quicker time. It won't take you as long. So anyway, so this is a pretty thorough 101 analysis. This is something that you can perform on your claims before you even file them, before you file your amendments, or when questioning the output from an examiner's rejection. Click Teach Skill, and within here, you get the ability to name it differently and so on. You can give it a different description. You can specify the practice area that it is associated with. And then down here is the meat of the skill, where you can alter the text, add to it, take away from it, change it, format it differently, or whatnot. The way this one is set up is to have a prompt that refers to performing the prompt with regard to this outline that's below it. So normally my guess is the way that you would update this one, depending on what you're trying to do, but you would most likely leave the prompt the same, but you would modify the outline. You can define these tasks or these skills in lots of different ways. This is just one way. You can just have it say something as simple as, here, I'm going to cancel this out. Let's just go over here to the skill library. And I'm going to click New Project. I'm going to click Teach Skill. I'm going to Test 101 Skill. Easy 101 Analysis. Practice Area. I'm going to say Patent Prosecution. Please evaluate the claims in view of current practice standards under 35 USC 101. And I'm going to save that. I'm going to put a little marker in front of this just so I can remember. I make sure I have the right one later on when I go to delete it. But also I can control how things sort that way. I'll hit confirm. Then I'll go over here to my skill library. You'll see it's right here at the top. So I click on it, and it shows up like this. So I'm going to find a set of claims real quick that I'm going to paste in there. Let's see, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to upload. I'm going to click upload. And I'm going to paste in an office action response shell that I have. I'm just going to drop it in. And I'm going to give it a name. I'm just going to call it shell. Click upload. This takes a minute to upload. There we go. I have an office action response shell here that has claims in it. So now I'm going to go back to the instructions. I'm just going to copy my simple prompt. And I'm going to paste it in here. and I haven't done this in advance, so this will be interesting to see what comes out. I didn't load this one in advance to test it, but give me a quick analysis here. And this is an example that even though I didn't prompt it with like, the different steps and the prongs and whatnot of current 101 analysis, it's still aware of it and it's still going to give it a good look in view of the current practice. So even if you don't have, or you just want to ask it a simple question or whatnot, the tool will give you a well-reasoned response. Make sure you read it, make sure you understand it, make sure you agree with it. And then decide, what you're going to do with it. It can assist you in preparing your response. It might assist you in how you draft your claims or evaluating claims after you draft them. So AI is a great tool, but just remember it is a tool. It's not a crutch, right? It's a tool. It's not going to do your job for you. It's going to assist you in doing your job better. So that's a simple skill that you could set up. You could have it do any sort of different thing that you want, depending on your prompt. You can then continue asking it other questions right here at the bottom where the prompt is. So I'm going to go back to the skill library real quick. Now, I don't see where the question thing is. I don't see any questions yet. But if you have any questions along the way, feel free to submit those, and Tom and Mike will bring those up. But if I'm in here, I have a skill and I want to edit it, I can click here to edit the skill. Or in this instance, I'm done with this one. Oh, one piece here though. This box here, if you have a skill that you just want to keep to you, just don't check that box. But if you want to share it with your team, you can click here and then other people on your team will be able to see it.
And Jim, you may have covered this, but is it accurate to say there's going to be skills that come with the tool out of the box? You can add your own skills that, like you mentioned, are your own private, or that you can share with your team, but the skills that you add aren't going to be made public or,
correct,
across other organizations that we might work with.
Yep. And that is very true. So this skill, I'm done with it. I don't need it anymore. It was just a test or a sample to show. I hit delete. I hit delete here, and it's gone. Okay. So here's a pretty useful skill. Let's go into another skill. This is a quality control skill that we have defined. And the idea here is that it will evaluate various elements of a draft patent application for consideration of quality of the draft. And you can define quality however you want. It's whatever you want to use to measure it, and you articulate that in the outline. You may have a skill that is, if you yourself have your own things that you want to look at a draft patent application for, you can define the skill for that. Now, if you have a client that has their own set, which might include yours, but it might include additional or different, or maybe there's some things they don't care about, or maybe they want claims in a certain form, or there's certain words, or, to borrow the term that I think Tom Irving coined, patent profanity. If you're looking for that, certain things you're looking for, you can define it in your own skill outline and put it in here, and then just run it against every patent application. If you're the reviewing attorney, to make sure the quality meets the standards for your firm, your own practice, or for that of the client, you can set this up, define it in that way, and you can share that skill with your associates or whomever's working on these cases for you, and have them run that before you even send it out to the client, or before they send the draft to you. So,
hey Jim, we had a question.
So I see that the significance of the exclamation point, they just kind of set out specifically. It sets out that word separately from the rest of it. So you could most likely get by without them, but go ahead and include them. And we find that seems to work pretty well. So let's go ahead and run this. So I have a patent application here. All right, let's see. There it is. Okay, do all of the words in the claims appear in the specification? Are the claims sufficiently enabled by the specification? Even if the specification is enabled, what are further potential enablement issues that should be analyzed further? Which embodiments would require expertise to implement that may be beyond the abilities of a person having ordinary skill in the relevant field? I've never met that person. It's difficult to measure. We can make our own judgment on that. We can use the judgment of the inventor. Oftentimes our inventors, though, are very skilled in the art, and they've really lost track of what an ordinary person in the art knows, because it's been skewed by their own knowledge being so advanced as it is. And so as a patent attorney, we still need to be sure that we meet that level. And this is an interesting tool to use to measure that and to identify where you may have gaps. It's just like anything else. If you are ever deposed and you're asked a question, if you can fall back on a response that is backed by a process that you always follow, this would be a very useful process to be able to explain. Well, I've never met a person having ordinary skill in the art. I'm assuming that there is somebody that it has that skill, but I haven't met him yet. So what I do to make sure that I meet that standard is I use this tool to evaluate what I've drafted and what I'm filing. So okay, so I do have a question for that. Go ahead and copy the prompt. So what I do is I highlight the prompt and I hit Command C. I'm on a Mac, but you could do the same thing to copy on a PC or in a different browser, and then I just paste here, and then I hit Enter, and it's going to go ahead and go off and do the thinking. So that was the first question here. For some reason, I had trouble copying and pasting from the instructions over to send messages side to ask the question, but I just saw you do it. Okay, so, yep. Okay, so we just answered that one live. Okay, can you export the report it generates, and is there some limit to how long the report can be? So there, you can export it, but that's through copy and paste. In the future, we may have the ability to download the output in Word, but what you want to do, though, is just copy and paste for now. When you do that, you probably get some strange formatting. Let me see if I can open up Word real quick here. And I'm going to create a new document. Just going to copy something real quick. Let me just make sure I know how to do this right. Let's see. Okay, so this is still going. So when you copy and paste, you get some, you do get some strange, sometimes strange shading and such. And what you can do is, if you highlight the in Word, if you're pasting into Word, what you can do is you can highlight it and then go into borders and shading, and like you click on, what is the name of this tool here? Doesn't pop up. Okay. So you click on borders and shading for like tables and such, and you turn the shading off completely. You want no fill, no color, and you turn that off, and it'll go away. All the borders and shading will go away. So let's see. In my experience so far, the tool does a great job citing accurately for the PEP, but it's hallucinated about the Federal Circuit cases. Do you have any guidelines or suggestions in relation to hallucinations relating to citations? Yeah, so anytime you get a citation with regard to a Federal Circuit case or any case, make sure you actually look it up and confirm that it says what it says. You can also ask additional questions about the citations and such to work it out, but look it up and you'll figure it out pretty quickly whether or not it's a real citation or if it's accurate. For the most part, what I've seen, I'd be curious if you've seen differently, but even if the citations aren't correct, it'll still end up in generally the right case. It's just you may be in a different part of it. So, but don't take anything for granted when it comes to something very specific like a case citation, because it's really easy to get that wrong. So just like treat it like you're getting a input from a law clerk or a first, second, or third year associate. You're going to trust but verify, and that's always a good way to proceed with artificial intelligence tools, especially generative AI. So, okay, let's take a look at the result here. All of the words in the claims appear in the specification. Here it's telling you how it determined it, and based on its review, it said yes. Are the claims sufficiently enabled? Yes. Give you more reasoning on that. And if the specification is enabled, were there potential enablement issues that should be analyzed further? So it identified a few areas, which that's pretty useful right there, because it's really easy when you're drafting a patent application to drop in another paragraph or two, or if you're not clear in your description about how something's working or how it's implemented, it's very easy to add another paragraph at the time of drafting. It makes it much easier than having to argue a point later on with regard to enablement issues in prosecution. Sure beats having to submit an affidavit at a later point or a declaration. Okay, which aspects of the described embodiments would require expertise to implement? In the past. Identified a potential clarity issue. That's interesting too. It says my internet connection is unstable. Mike, are you able to hear me, or Tom, are you able to hear me? All
Yep, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
There have been cutouts here and there.
Okay. Alrighty. So sorry about that. Does the application include any unclaimed subject matter? It looks like it's good. And then I asked it to draft some additional independent claims, which is interesting because sometimes when we're drafting applications, we get locked in on looking at an application from the certain angles that we're approaching it for claiming. But when we get claims from other angles, we can either hold these claims and use them for continuation applications or divisional applications, or we might say, you know what, that's more interesting than the approach that I took, and you can claim it differently. Or you could take these claims, you could paste them in an example section so that you have them there explicitly for filing, maybe in Europe at a later time, or elsewhere. Additionally, some clients, they don't care so much about how many claims you include. They just think, yeah, if there's a reason to include a claim and you see a claim that would be useful, go ahead and copy it in there. So, okay, so let's see. There's another question. How important is it that we refer to the documents that we've uploaded using the reference names that we assign to them? For example, if I name a document application and refer to the specification, will the tool understand what I mean? Typically, yes, it will understand if you don't address them specifically. If you kind of interchange specification and application. And if I upload documents named claims 1 and claims. Is it enough to refer to the different claim sets I've uploaded? Should I refer explicitly to claims one? Okay, so if there's a specific set of claims you want it to refer to, use the proper name that you've assigned to it up above. And if you're not positive that it's actually catching the proper claim set, you can, ask it some questions to, like, say, hey, which claims did you use in making this this determination or in this analysis? You can always ask it to explain more about its analysis. For example, what was the reasoning behind drafting claim Z?
Yeah, and Jim, I would add that using specificity with the names of the documents that you've loaded is more likely to not have an issue. Like you said, a lot of times it's going to work just fine. If the answer that you get looks off, something looks up, the beauty here is you can just retry the question with a little bit more specificity and see if you get a better answer.
Yeah, and it can matter how you ask the question too. So that's always something to keep in mind. So if you have documents uploaded that could, that the tool may not be clear with regard to your question, go ahead and, ask the question with more specificity, but also maybe ask the question in a different way. Asking the question in a different way might get you a different result that might lead you to a better outcome for your client. So, and it only takes mere moments. So, like, for example, I just did here. So let's just play with the art unit predictor real quick. I have an application here. This one has actually been examined and assigned to art unit. So I know which one it is. And what we will do here is we'll just run this. And it may not end up in exactly where it ended up, but assigning applications to art units is a bit of a dark art. And if nothing else, it's going to get very close. So this one, it would say it would be assigned to 3671. Okay, which makes sense. But this one is actually got assigned to 3679. 36. Let's see, what is art unit 3671? Well, here, let's ask it like this. What are the differences between art units 3671 and 3679? So yeah, so 3679 is general agriculture. So these claims in this application here, I'll click back over here, we can see the claims. So they deal with an agricultural implement. So going into general agriculture makes sense, but if you keep reading though, and if you look deeper into the specification, it was specifically with regard to a seed planting apparatus. So either one of these makes sense, but 3671 may have been more specific to this. But then again, when you consider this is the claim one starts with a pneumatic coupler, and it's an agriculture implementation, that's, it's not unreasonable to end up in 3679, but specific to this application, the 3671 would have maybe been a better fit, but at the same time, it is a dark art, and there's different reasons why things get assigned to different places. So that got us pretty close, but since it ended up this being it ended up in perhaps best in 3671, let's ask it what are some things I could due to the application to help ensure the application is assigned to Art Unit 3671. Back. So, okay, so let's look at the title. So yeah, this says Quick Connect Pneumatic Coupler. So yeah, if you wanted to end up more in seed planning or seed metering, that would be a reasonable thing to do and very easy to do. Things that you could evaluate before you file the application. So just some tips that you could get there. Let's see, it's 12:39 now. Feel free to submit it a few more minutes, and we'll let it be for the day, and give you back, at least probably 15 minutes for the rest of the hour, and then we'll do this again in a couple of weeks. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to email. You can reach out to me directly at jhallenbeck@blackhills.ai, or you just submit a question via support at blackhills.ai, support at blackhills.ai. Happy to answer any questions. And even if it's just info, you could also use the blackhillsip.com email addresses. Those still work. You can also submit the feedback button here, and things will get routed to us. Okay, so I have an office action here that I've uploaded, and I have a set of instructions in here to generate a email or the text of a letter reporting the office action to your client. This would be more for a smaller client, but you can generate them for various different things. And this is the text of that letter. Again, I want to say thank you to an attorney who, he's still on the call, who generated this skill, or a person on his team did, and he shared it. So I appreciate that. Let's go ahead and submit it. This one should come back fairly quickly. Let's see. That one didn't work. I must not have it set up right. I copied the wrong. I didn't copy the prompt. I copied the instruction. I didn't notice my own error. Here we go. Yeah, it helps if the skill works better when you put the right prompt in there. So I'm going to click on the office action real quick, and we can start comparing it. So what we have here, let this go away so we have it a little bit bigger. 280414. Yep, we have the right matter. Yeah, it pulls this from the office action. We can take a look here. We'll see there's a 101 rejection of claims 1 through 20. But it says 1 through 20, but if we look at the claims that are pending, we'll see that it actually got the claims that were pending and didn't just take the examiner's word for it in the office action itself. So that's pretty interesting. Claims 103 were rejected, or the claims were rejected under 103. Let's see. Yep. 1, 3 through 12. I'm sorry. Where are we at here? Okay, here we go. 1, 3 through 4, 12 through 15, and 19 through 20. There'll be another rejection down below that 5 through 7 and 16 through 18. Yep. It gives some suggestions on the different options for responding, what the next steps are. Yeah, pretty easy letter to generate to send to your clients to get them moving on giving you instructions on how they want to respond to the office action, or however you're going to just proceed anyway. I'll show you one more skill here, because I think this one is pretty useful. But let me talk about this piece right here real quick. It says running out of space. So right now our context size is limited to approximately 250 pages. That is going to increase significantly in the very near future. So if you're running into that now, help is on the way. So what I've done here is I've uploaded, I've shared this one before on several calls, but there's an office action. Let's see, the pending claims are in an office action response shell. And then there's a copy of the specification or application uploaded, and then the cited references are uploaded. So let's go to the instructions. Tells you what to upload, and it gives you a prompt. And I'm going to just copy all of that. I don't have this one set up in a way that it runs with an outline. It's just a straight prompt. And we're going to paste this in here. This will take just a minute. Yeah, and so I do see that there's a number of people that are logged in. I think there's probably a few of you who do not have trials set up yet. If you're interested in getting set up with a trial, please feel free to reach out to us. Again, you can reach out to any of the addresses I mentioned already. You know, you can reach out to me, Jay Hallenbeck at blackhills.ai, or you can reach out to sales at blackhills.ai or blackhills.ai, any of our numbers and so on. And you can also respond to the email that we'll send out after this webinar. You can also find any of us on LinkedIn. Connect with us if you like, and get updates through that about future webinars and so on, and also additional information about new products as they come out, other things that we have to say. So right now it's preparing a preliminary response to an office action that you might want to consider, or different elements that you may use to generate a response to an office action. And so look again to what it was asking us to do. Prepare a response to the 101 rejections. Prepare any needed amendments, including citations to locations in the specification where support can be found for the amendments. Then also give us a look at how we might respond to any 112, 102, or 103 rejections, and identify any subject matter that's not just described in the application but not present in the claims, which can be useful for identifying how you may want to amend the claims to overcome any rejections. So let's see. Well, today it did not give us a response to the 102s, but that's okay. We can ask it again. So gives us a response to the 101 rejections, how we might proceed there, how we argue against the different prongs, and some potential amendments. Okay, so let's copy. And let's do this one. Let's rerun this. Please generate. So that is the reason why you might want to use the outline method to generate your prompts. Typically, this one will come back with a good response, but sometimes you need to look at the response that you get and take a second whack at it and get more insight. So yeah, while this is coming back, I just want to say thanks for connecting up. I think we're going to, like I said, we're going to do another one in a couple of weeks, and we're going to keep doing these. In the meantime, provide your feedback, ask any questions that you have. If you have any questions about this or any of our other products, that is, certainly let us know. If you would like some one-on-one demonstration or some assistance in developing any of your own skills inside your trial, let us know. We can help with that as well. And so you'll see here, it says that there's no 112 rejections, which is true in this office action. For the 102, it's identifying deficiencies in the Kenyon reference and how you might proceed with arguing against that. And with the 103, it's identifying, kind of the same stuff and how you might respond to the 103 rejection. Additionally, it's providing insight into the unclaimed subject matter. And so while this isn't necessarily exactly how you would choose to respond, this allows you to get some information on the office actions very quickly, figure out an approach that you might take. You might not agree, but it also might identify some things that you would have found yourself within the time limits afforded by the budget that you're working with. So that again comes into place where you're going to be able to work quickly, work thoroughly, and identify some ways to proceed in a matter that you may not have otherwise thought about yourself. And at the same time, if you get a draft office action response from an associate or from somebody else on your team, and you can run this and compare it to what your team member generated. And you can use that as a form of quality control, but also ways to identify other avenues of argument or confirm the avenues of argument that were taken in the response that you're reviewing. So I hope this this workshop was useful to you. I think we've answered all of the questions that have come in so far. I can hang out for a while to continue answering any questions if you have any more. But that concludes what I wanted to share today. And I appreciate you connecting up, and thanks to Tom and Mike for connecting as well. I appreciate your interest in our tool and continued interest in Black Hills IP, which is being, we're changing our name over to Black Hills AI because that is more reflective of what we do, because we're not necessarily limited to only IP. And we're not only limited to prosecution in that regard as well. So, and when you see Black Hills AI, you know that we are the same entity as Black Hills IP, and you'll see more about that, in the coming weeks and months. So, thank you again, and look forward to continuing to work with you with the AI tool and the other services we provide. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Kevin, if you're still there, I'm typing an answer to your question. There you go. I just sent you an answer. So the question was, let me see if I can find it again. Okay, so the question was, let's see, there's Kevin and then one more on. Understandably, analyzing drawings would be tricky. Are you making progress towards that, though? Seems like there could be some things AI could do to make sure that each numerical reference is used, for example, in the drawings. We are working on that, and there are some things that we can do already, but you'll see more on that, coming soon. So, thank you. All right. Well, I think we can stop recording, Mike.
I think that's it. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.